this is Kate at the Library of Whispers, and today I'm going to take another look at this lovely book. It is the Treasures of Britain book, and I may have said this before, but this is a book that I remember my parents owning. Not this copy. I found this copy in a charity shop, and I remember reading it and browsing through it as a child and looking at all the pictures. This is what it looks like on the spine. It's actually an AA book, Treasures of Britain, which is the Automobile Association. magnificent range of stained glass windows in the new cathedral culminates in this huge one, which suggests the power of the Holy Spirit at work in the world, reaching up to heaven and down to earth. Okay, so this is Deal Castle. Deal Castle is in Kent. Built circa 1540 by Henry VIII as part of a military defence system against possible invasion by the French. In all, 20 forts were probably built by Henry VIII, all of them unlike other medieval castles. In plan, they resemble the rose badge of the Tudors. Yeah, you can kind of see that. Let me show you a bit closer. Deal Castle consists of a circular court or keep from which 6 semicircular bastions radiate, all equipped with guns, with an outer curtain wall of 6 more circular bastions. Altogether, there were 145 openings for guns, with an all-round view. Then it says at the bottom, with the close of the Middle Ages, fortified castle buildings came to an end, but the castle at Deal is one of many forts built along the south coast by Henry VIII in about 1540. The king's break with the Church of Rome prompted the Pope to advocate a crusade against England, and Henry VIII built about 20 artillery forts as a precaution against a French invasion. Several of these castles were along the Thames, at Tilbury and Gravesend, for instance, while in Kent there were castles at Deal, Walmer and Sandown. That at Sandown is in ruins, and Walmer Castle is the official residence of the Lord Warden of the Cinque Ports. Deal Castle is the most spectacular example of Henry's low, squat forts, with thick walls, rounded parapets, tiers of embrasures for guns, and sparse living quarters for the cascade. The Codrington family has lived at Doddington since 1578. An ancestor, John Codrington, was standard-bearer to Henry V at Agincourt and Hoffler in 1415. In 1796, Christopher Codrington employed James Wyatt to build him a great house in Regency style, and it was completed in 1813. In that year, Codrington was indirectly responsible for Wyatt's death. On the September the 14th, he and Codrington were travelling back to London when their coach overturned near Marlborough, and Wyatt was killed. The house is almost square. Inside the spacious entrance hall has scagolia, columns and a marble floor patterned in black, red and white. The ceiling has sunken panels and is terracotta in colour, enriched with gold. The stair hall rises the full height of the building and is lit by 4 semicircular windows beneath the dome. The staircase is magnificent. It divides into 2 flights, to left and right, from the first landing. Mid-18th century wrought ironwork brought from Fonthill in Wiltshire, which Wyatt was rebuilding, was incorporated in the stair railings. Dorchester in Oxfordshire. Abbey Church of St. Peter and Paul. The Church of Dorchester has an unimpressive exterior, and inside is a strange mixture of Norman and Gothic architecture. The church is the only remaining part of the Augustinian abbey founded in 1114. The most interesting feature of the abbey church are found in the choir, 3 windows dating from the early 14th century. The window in the north aisle represents the tree of Jesse. The designer has made use of the stonework to suggest the branches, and stone and glass were combined in a highly unorthodox style. The large east window is stabilised by a buttress down the centre. The south window has a funeral procession carved on its lower part. Beneath this window is a stone sedilia, with rear wall pierced by windows containing 14th century glass. Now this picture at the top is an effigy of a knight. The dynamism of this powerful figure is unique in English sculpture of its time. Cross-legged effigies are common, but here the whole body of the knight is contorted by violent action. The figure was probably carved about 1300, and the sculptor may have come from the Abington workshops nearby. So that is at Dorchester Abbey. Dover Castle. Here. Right. Dover Castle was constructed mainly in the late 12th and 13th centuries on a magnificent site which shows evidence of occupation or fortification from prehistoric times. The castle commands an important harbour opening on the shortest sea route to the continent and was for centuries vital to the defence of the kingdom. A 13th century chronicler described it as the key of England. The medieval kings spent vast sums of money fortifying the site, and these fortifications have been continuously brought up to date. Within the walls is the Roman lighthouse, the earliest was considerably fortified against invasion during the Napoleonic Wars. Inside one of the White Cliffs are cavernous brick shelters built to hide a large part of the British Army in case Napoleon invaded England. In the First World War, the town was the centre for the Dover Patrol, whose job was to safeguard the Straits, and in the Second World War, Dover endured much bomb damage and shelling by long-range guns sighted in France. There are many memorials in Dover to heroism and achievement. The dead of both world wars are commemorated by the Dover War Memorial, and at St Margaret's Bay, 5 miles along the cliffs to the east, is a granite obelisk commemorating the Dover Patrol. The castle. The main fortifications of Dover Castle belong to the late 12th and 13th centuries. The keep was built in the 1180s in the middle of an inner bailey, and the fortifications of the surrounding outer bailey were begun soon after, although these were not completed until the reigns of John and Henry III. The castle is of particular interest because it is one of the earliest in England in which the fortifications were arranged concentrically. Much of the architectural effect of its circuits of enclosing walls was destroyed during the Napoleonic period, when the tops of many towers were cut off and the remaining stumps strengthened to provide gun emplacements. Dunstable. Okay, Dunstable is in Bedfordshire. The Barry Ball. Every religious fraternity, city livery company and noble family in the later Middle Ages possessed its own funeral ball or coffin covering. The Farey family gave this ball to the fraternity of St. John the Baptist, which was founded in 1442 and dissolved in 1547. The sides show St. John preaching, with barren tree trunks and rocks representing the wilderness. Henry Farey, who died in 1516, is leading members of the fraternity. To the Baptist from one side, and from the other, Henry's wife Agnes presents a row of women. The centre portion, bottom right, is of rich crimson cut Florentine brocaded velvet on a cloth of gold. So that's here. St. John is depicted in his rough coat of camel's hair, and the arms shown are those of the Farey family and the ancient arms of the Mercer's Company. A demi-figure of Our Lady crowned. The silk is Italian, the style Flemish, but the workmanship undoubtedly English. Durham Cathedral. Durham is no stranger to power. For centuries, its mighty Norman cathedral and castle, sited on a rock 70 feet above the River Wear, have dominated one of Britain's arteries, the Great North Road, its coal fields among the richest in England, and its manufacturing industries still give it most splendid works in Durham Cathedral's library is an illuminated Bible in 2 volumes, bequeathed by William of St. Caroleph or St. Calais, Bishop of Durham from 1081 to 1096, who not only founded the Norman cathedral we know today, but also its library. As in all illuminated manuscripts, the initial letters are most elaborately decorated, and in this instant none more than the letter B, shown here. In the upper part of the B, the stylized foliage customary in illuminated manuscripts merges with a grotesque creature also made of foliage, and in the lower part King David sits playing his harp. Okay, I'm just going to show you that. I hope you can see that a bit better. Now here, Durham Cathedral proudly dominating its surroundings is one of the finest examples of the Romanesque style of architecture. Though the style varied in different countries, the round arch and ever more ambitious experiments in vaulting were common features everywhere. The ribbed vaulting in the north and south aisles of the choir of Durham Cathedral is the earliest of its kind in Europe. Now this door knocker here is the sanctuary door knocker at Durham Cathedral. Recalls the days and nights in medieval times when debtors and other fugitives from the law could seek protection from arrest in places of worship like Durham Cathedral. The rites of sanctuary, which went back to Old Testament times, were eventually, because of blatant abuse, abolished in 1540. Edinburgh Castle. Edinburgh in Scotland, of course. Castle Rock was probably the site of an Iron Age fort which was rebuilt in the 7th century by Edwin, King of Northumbria. In the 11th century the castle was used as a residence by Malcolm III and his pious English Queen Margaret, who was eventually canonised. The Scottish kings continued to use the castle during the following century, and by the late 13th century the state records and royal treasures were kept there. James VI of Scotland and First of England was born there, and it was in the apartments used by Mary Queen of Scots that the casket letters, which were used to prove her complicity in Darnley's murder, were found. After the kingdoms of England and Scotland were united in the 16th century, the castle was only occasionally visited by the kings of Scotland, and it was used mainly as a fortress. Edinburgh in Midlothian. Colton Hill is an area set with Grecian buildings in classical style. Canongate Toll Booth, built in 1591, is now a city museum with a J. Telfer Dunbar collection of Highland dress. And then the castle. Edinburgh's principal building, dominating the city, is perched on a basalt rock that juts up 443 feet above sea level and has been a fortress site since the 7th century. No 11th century castle buildings survive, but St. Margaret's Chapel, named after Malcolm III's wife, remains from the 12th century. In 1314, all the other early buildings were destroyed was later greatly reduced in height and incorporated into Half Moon Battery, 1574, still survives. Many alterations have been made, especially in the 17th century, to the King's Lodging and the Great Hall, which were built in the 15th and early 16th centuries. The palace buildings inside the castle precincts form three sides of a square, the fourth being the impressive Scottish National War Memorial. The United Services Museum is at the west end of Palace Yard. On the south side is the Great Hall, former Parliament meeting place and banqueting hall. It contains a collection of weapons and armour. On the east side are the royal apartments. The Scottish regalia, crown, sceptre, sword of state, is kept in the castle, in the stone-vaulted crown room. The crown, dated 1540, is of Scottish gold, set with 94 pearls, 10 diamonds, 33 gems. The Cathedral Church of St. Giles is large, mainly of 14th and 15th century date, and has a central tower, crowned by a lantern supported on flying buttresses. There are monuments with effigies and the ornate chapel of the Order of Thistle, added at the beginning of the 20th century with the knight's stalls and banners. Holyrood Abbey. The abbey was founded in 1128 by King David I, in thanksgiving, it is said, for his escape from an enraged stag after the sudden appearance of the cross between himself and the animal. Very little can now be seen of the original buildings. Parts of the nave are 12th century, but the surviving arcade belongs to the first half of the 13th century. As frequently happened, the nave was kept as a parish church. Its present ruined state dates from the collapse of its vault in 1768. Royal Edinburgh. This is the gates of the Palace of Holyrood House. National Museum of Antiquities. Royal Scottish Museum. And the National Gallery of Scotland. The National Gallery of Scotland was designed in the Grecian style and opened to the public in 1859. It contains one of the most exquisite collections of paintings in the world. It boasts some of the most important and intriguing groups of works by masters such as Raphael, Titian, Rembrandt, Gainsborough, Poussin, Degas, and Cézanne, as well as a section devoted to Scottish artists. Now this picture here is by Gainsborough, and it is the Honourable Mrs. Graham. Mrs. Graham was one of the many society beauties Gainsborough painted in order to make a living, although he preferred painting landscapes. He has been called the only true Rococo artist England has produced. experiments are in her handwriting. And this is Joseph Lister, the man who made surgeries safe. People and places of Fotheringay. Mary Queen of Scots, Scotland's tragic queen. Mary Stuart, the fairest and most cruel queen on earth, became Queen of Scotland at 8 days old. She married the Dauphin of France at 15, sending a miniature of herself to her cousin Elizabeth, which remains in the Royal Library, Windsor. In 1558, Mary became heir apparent to the English throne, and in 1559 Queen of France as well. Her troubles began when her young husband died and the 18-year-old Papist Queen returned to Protestant Scotland. Her personal apartment, Holyrood House, can be visited, and a brass plate marks the spot where her favourite secretary was murdered, at the instigation of her jealous second husband, Lord Darnley, at the castle of Loch Leven. Mary was held after the mad episode of her abduction and marriage to the Earl of Bothwell and the disaster of the Battle of Carberry Hill. At 26, Mary fled to England, where she was imprisoned for 19 years. Her embroideries can be seen at Holyrood and Hardwicke Hall. This is Fountains Abbey in North Yorkshire. Fountains Abbey was founded in 1132 on a site which was later described as fit more for the dens of wild beasts than for the uses of man. At first the monks suffered considerable privations and hardship, but the abbey ultimately became the richest Cistercian house of England, although its inmates were not especially distinguished, either for holiness or scholarship. The ruins of the abbey form one of the most complete sets of Cistercian buildings to survive the dissolution of the monasteries. And this is a Framlingham Castle in Suffolk. By the middle of the 12th century, Framlingham was one of a group of castles in the eastern counties, held by the powerful Bigod family, Earls of Norfolk. Framlingham was destroyed in 1174, but Roger, the second Earl, built a new and stronger castle about 1190. The layout of the rooms is now almost completely lost, although the house was still inhabited in the 16th century when it had passed to the Howard family. The destruction seems to have occurred in the 17th century when the castle was bequeathed to Pembroke College, Cambridge, which was instructed to pull it down, saving the stone building. Furness Abbey in Lancashire. Originally a Savignac house, the abbey was taken over by the Cistercian order in 1147 and became the second richest Cistercian house in England after Fountains Abbey, acquiring extensive property in northern England and the Isle of Man. The piscina recesses on each side. Clams Castle in Scotland. During the 1715 Jacobite rebellion, James Francis Edward Stuart, the Old Pretender, was entertained in this magnificent tower house castle. Since 1372 it had been the home of the Lyon family, later Earls of Strathmore and Kinghorn, and forebears of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. It was also visited by Mary, Queen of Scots, and was occupied by Cromwell's troops. The original tower dates from the 15th century, but in 1650 the third Earl began enlargements in French chateau style. The wings and rounded turrets, castellations and corbels were added, eclipsing the nucleus of the castle. Inside, delicately worked plaster ceiling, also showing Renaissance influences, were installed. About this time, several castles, including Craigieville and Galaverock, also flowered in this way, and the style became known as Scottish baronial. Glasgow City Art Gallery and Museum. Gloucester Cathedral. Goodrich Castle. Greenwich in London. The Borough Museum in Greenwich. The main collections are of local and natural history. There's also the Dawson collection of foreign butterflies and moths. There's the Chapel Trinity Hospital in Greenwich. The National Maritime Museum. The Royal Naval College. Vanbrugh Castle. That was built by Sir John Vanbrugh, the author of Restoration Comedies and architect of Castlehoward in Yorkshire. It's now a school for boys whose fathers were in the RAF. There's the Royal Naval College, Greenwich. By the time Charles II was restored to the throne in 1660, the old Tudor buildings of Greenwich Palace, where Henry VIII and Elizabeth I were born, had been so neglected that it was decided to demolish them. In 1662-9, they were replaced by King Charles's block, which was designed by John Welsh, Inigo Jones's assistant. At the end of the 17th century, Mary II proposed the foundation of a hospital for disabled men of the Royal Navy, and Sir Christopher Wren was appointed architect. Not far from the site was Inigo Jones's Queen's saying I shall see you very, very soon.